Fios is not cable. We're wired differently, which means you can get the fastest internet available with equal upload and download speeds from 50 to 500 megs. So you can upload 200 photos before your favorite song is finished. Click the ad and switch to Fios today to get our best offer ever.
Blog Talk Radio.
Hello, everyone, and welcome once again to No Tea with Chrita and Crys. It is Wednesday, July 13th. I am so excited to be here once again. And, Crys, are you excited today?
I'm always excited to be here with No Tea and with you and with our listeners, and I'm just excited for another day of life.
All right. That's what I'm talking about. That is what I am talking about. Well, I have to tell you, today is going to be an exciting day. You know, last week we actually, last week, listen at me. On Monday, we actually kicked off our Women Inspiring Women Month, and our guest was unable to join us at the last minute, but we had a fantastic conversation about some of the stuff that was going on in the world and you know, some sports talk and what have you. And so we're continuing today and for the rest of the month with our Women Inspiring Women, and we have a special guest this evening, Miss Tonya Lewis of Children with a Vision. So I'm excited about that.
This is going to be great.
Yeah, I'm just, you know, I just can't tell you. It just makes me feel some kind of way. Not saying that, you know, we're not supporting the brothers and uplifting the brothers, but it just gives me life, you know, when I hear a sister come on and they are just doing some things. And so I'm very excited and looking forward to this evening. And, you know, as always, there is news out there to tell. So unless you have something you want to say, I guess we're going to get it in.
Well, let me tell you my first non-news story.
Absolutely.
The current prime minister, this literally just flashed up across my television as if it had enough importance for somebody to even type it in. The current prime minister, who is just taking over, is going to be allowed keep the cat because the cat is considered a government worker. Somebody took
and you
the
know
time.
what? I don't mean no harm. I need to stop laughing because somebody out there is ready to chew my head off for laughing because they take their cat business very seriously. But I think that's funny.
Is a government worker, so he stays. People getting blown up all over the world, Brexit, everything else in the world happening. They can't even figure out who their prime minister is going to be. All that carrying on, and David Cameron don't get to keep his cat.
That's crazy. That is so crazy. But you know what?
It's unimportant.
You know, that goes back to so much that of the conversations that I've had in the past with people because, you know, I support PETA and animal rights groups to a certain extent. But, you know, there are some people out there who, when it comes to these animals, they look at them more importantly than they do human life. Yeah. And it just blows me away. It blows me away that it's a news story. It blows me away that there's a controversy. I don't know. It's just me.
It's not just you. I was awake 4:30 in the morning, and I'm watching television, and Haley Cuoco comes on with the I'm almost in tears, and I'm like, oh, my gosh, what happened? If one more cat or dog is homeless, I almost broke my own television because I had rode by earlier that day, and it was, remember when the weather kept going back and forth, It was freezing outside, and there was a man laying on Mulberry Street, literally on the street, on top of grate, trying to catch some heat or something from somewhere. And people were literally just walking back and forth past him, looking at him, kept moving, looking at him, kept moving, looking at him, kept moving. The only thing I could think of was this would be the one time I don't have a blanket in my car. I always have a blanket in my car. And I was like, great, this is the one time. And she going to tell me about a homeless dog or a cat. I ain't mad at it. Everybody knows me, knows I love animals. I especially love exotic animals. I have a passion for animals. I just have bad allergies. But until you get Mr. So-and-so up off of the street, don't you come to me about no dog.
I know that's right. I know that's right. You know, some people are saying, well, this isn't a very important story, but I'm going to tell you, I have, for those of you who don't know, I teach college courses, and it's funny because I recently had a student who lost their pet while they were in my class, and I'm going to tell you.
Right. And that's hard.
The individual came to me looking for additional time because, they were suffering the loss of their animal. Now, like I said, I believe in protecting the rights of animals as I do believe in protecting the rights of anyone. I don't think that we should be, unnecessarily cruel to any living creature. And so I understand that. But I was really perplexed because in my mind I am saying to myself, okay, you're in college. You have an assignment that needs to be done. We have to move on. So I really had to check my own personal stereotypes and biases and sensibilities because I really did not know what I wanted to do at that moment. So, I took the better side of me in the end and afforded her, a couple of more days because I do know that some people are that serious about their animals. But it really took me a minute to kind of assess myself in that area because I don't get it.
But it was good of you to be able to step back and make that assessment and check your biases at the door. We talked about that some time ago with some other things. You have to check your biases at the door. You have to consider other people's feelings. And my best friend has a dog, and that dog runs the house.
Yes.
He calls it Buster's house. And I know when we were growing up, he had a dog named Snoopy. And when Snoopy passed, it wiped the whole family out. They do become a part of your every single day. They love you unconditionally. They will hug you when a human won't.
Yeah.
They can feel your energy. They know when things are not right with you, and they will come and cuddle right up next to you right at that moment when you need it. I get all of that. I really do. They are essential. I want a pet so bad that I'm waiting for them to find the right allergy medicine so that I can get my Flo Loris and my Bengal Tiger. I'm waiting. I am
know
waiting.
That's right.
But my issue is humans first.
Yeah.
Because if there are no humans, who's going to take care of the animals?
Absolutely.
So I don't have any problem with PETA, and I think some of the poaching and things that are going on is disgraceful. It is taking away from the beauty that is our nature and our world. The killing, the mass killing just so that you can sell a part of an animal, I think it's disgusting.
Yeah, that's right.
But
that's right.
Not until you get that man up off of that Mulberry Street, or you cover him up, or you figure something out for him, then I'll give you some money for PETA.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, I can definitely say it it's, I guess I should say congratulations on the cat being employed, because there's a whole lot of people out there who are not.
This cat got a government job. He just got a regular job. He got a government job with the prime minister, and it's so important that there was discussion as to whether he could leave or not.
Oh my goodness. See, that's what I'm saying. Go ahead, cat.
That's big business. I bet he got a 401k.
Yes, indeed.
I bet he get days off from being a cat.
Well, look, I ain't mad. Like I said, congratulations on him having a job, because there are a lot of people out there who are seeking employment and can't find it.
And a government job. Did he apply for that? Did he put his paw print on that? What was the vetting?
Girl, I don't even know. I want to see
because
it. I want to see it.
Vetted. The
That's called nepotism. That's right.
That ain't fair. I bet he ain't had to sit down and answer a bunch of questions. Can you meow?
See?
All right, I'm sorry. I wish
right.
they hadn't flashed across my TV. Sometimes I shouldn't watch the news while I'm doing this stuff. It's just because that was just ridiculous. I was like, somebody sit down and type that.
Yes, indeed.
And it hit the wire, left a whole other country, and came over here. I'm angry about it. But I'm also interested in the fact that Donald Trump wants Ruth Bader Ginsburg gone.
Do you know what?
Her mind is shot.
That has turned into such a political debacle, it's not even funny. They are now asking, did she push Donald Trump too far? And they are saying that,
him too far?
Yes, because she made comments about him as well, and now they're trying to say that he is retaliating.
Okay.
Yes.
First of all, he shouldn't have. Oh God.
But you know what? We better be careful. We better be very careful, because Donald Trump filed another lawsuit today against one of his former staffers. He is going after, our Supreme Court justice. He is a litigious man, and if he does not get his way, he's coming after you. So, you better watch it, people. I mean, all these people are out here supporting him, but he is definitely an unpredictable character. Now, I have a question for you real quick, because we do not necessarily see the same news. You're up north, I'm down south. Do you all have a commercial up there where they show Donald Trump and someone asks him, where do you get your knowledge from, as far as wars and stuff like that? Do you have a commercial up there and he says, well, I watch TV shows like yours?
No, I haven't seen that one.
Okay, so it must be a Florida Florida finance commercial. There is a commercial down here, and it is absolutely hilarious. If I can find it, I'm going to put it on No T. But they actually asked Donald Trump, where are you getting your knowledge from? Who is going to be your support? And you're basically asking him who is going to help him make decisions. And he's saying, me. He said, and then, I watch a lot of TV. I watch people like you guys. And so, I am just shocked and amazed that we are in a position, with this man. But we really need to watch where we're going with that, because he is just he's a ball of laughs for the media, but for this country, not so much.
I have a friend over in the UK that has been communicating back and forth. And he's like, do you all have any idea how much trouble you're in? Yeah. And it's always good to hear the perspective of those who are not in this country. And
That's
he
right.
said, you all are in so much trouble, and we are waiting, and we are watching, because if he becomes president, it affects all of us. And I told you, a woman in Nigeria told me the same thing. But, you know, this is a man that tried to sue Scotland over a golf course.
Right. Right.
You know, so he clearly has that if you don't do what I say, I'm going to sue you kind of mentality. That's why I was, you know, when we talked about who will run with him as vice president, so I said it'll have to all be him. Because he's not going to sue himself. You know, maybe. I don't know. Maybe. He may, you know, sue Donald Trump versus Trump Enterprises. I don't know.
Absolutely.
Ivanka better watch her back. He'll sue her.
Absolutely.
Donald Jr., all of them. Everybody's fair game with him. And, again, every time he opens his mouth, he proves a few things. Complete idiot. But the bigger thing that he proves is that he has this has never been, and it is not now, about our country. It is about power for him. It's I've done this, I've conquered that, I've done this, I've gotten away with that. What's next? Hey, why not the presidency?
Absolutely.
You know, and that's petrifying to me, because things will come up and he will make decisions based on, just like we were talking about checking your biases at the door and things like that. He won't.
Absolutely.
He absolutely will not. If he doesn't care for, let's just say there's a huge Latino community and there's flooding and people are hurt or what have you, he's going to be like, well, they shouldn't have been here.
That's right. That's right, because that's how he handles things.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
You know, that's frightening. He frightens me domestically. He frightens me in a foreign way. He frightens me in the international community the most, because he has no respect for anyone here. So to send him to the UN or to sit with, oh, God, anybody in the Middle East, he's just going to make him an offer that can't. He thinks he's the Godfather. He's going to be like, look, I don't like the way things are going here. I'm just going to buy all of this. And when he finds out that it's not for sale, he's going to come back here and say, we're going to war.
That's right. That's right.
And he will figure out a way to go to war. That was proven back with George Bush.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, let me tell you, because that is actually part of the news story that I wanted to share tonight. You know, they're actually having the GOP convention next Tuesday, I believe it is, in Ohio, and they are now facing a $6 million shortfall for the convention. To date, they have already raised $51 million from donation in cash and $7 million through in-kind donations, but their goal of $64 million for the 4-day event has not been raised. And, you know, it has been speculated that this shortfall is a direct result of companies not supporting the convention that had previously supported the convention, or giving lesser money than they would have, because they're you know, being faced with a great deal of controversy and speculation that there is going to be a boycott of the convention. And I found it very interesting, because some of the companies that have already either reduced their spending or have, you know, pulled out altogether are Coca-Cola, Hewlett-Packard, and Apple, which I'm very surprised to hear Coca-Cola, because we know Coca-Cola is, you know, a highly, highly conservative organization in the grand scheme of things. And so, I was real surprised to hear that. But they are speculating that a lot of people are very concerned about, his stance on certain things. And I guess if he's going to watch TV to find the answers to his political woes, we might be in a bigger problem, than we anticipated. But, people are really starting to get nervous. And with the campaign season coming up after the presidential season, people are worried about their own political seats as well. So, this is going to be very interesting, and we will see how it plays out next Tuesday. I don't know about you, but I will be interested to see, what the attendance looks like, who's outside, what organizations are going to be there. Are Black Lives Matter going to be there? I know Paul Ryan has come out and said he is a little concerned about the convention, and he's not sure exactly, who's going to show up and who's not, because a lot of people are saying they're not going. So, No T, Chrita will be watching. For sure, and I'll come back and report to you all what happens, and maybe it'll end up being like some of those Chinese courts that we see where they end up in an all-out brawl, and we can just kind of watch it unfold. I don't know. It'll be interesting.
That is my concern, and I still have in the back of my mind somebody stirring one hell of a pot and making one hell of a beef stew, because I have the concern that people are going to turn out in numbers, and there's going to be so much dissension amongst those who turn out that it's just going to turn into an all-out riot.
That's right.
And, I, of course, will be out of the country that day, but I will be in touch with you via text and, Skype and stuff like that, because no.
Yeah.
I have somewhere to go. There's got to be an
island. So are you running away?
Pretty much. I am running away to the point where the little rascals used to take a stick and put some stuff in a kerchief and tie it to it and just start walking.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
I'm out.
Wow. Just know
depending
you can't
on how
walk through the ocean.
Yeah, but I can swim now like a fish. I do butterfly, I'll do free, I do breaststroke, and my specialty was backstroke. It makes me no difference whatever. It's whatever. And I'm not allergic to the animals in the water, so that's not an issue.
There you go.
So,
Wow.
I just can't really, I just can't with this. This is so frightening, and still there are people just dismaying.
Absolutely.
Which I guess speaks to where our country is. Like, I tell you the one thing I see that came out of him running that I thought was positive. It gave us a clearer picture of where our country really is.
Yes. Yeah.
It really
absolutely.
did. It cleared it up. Put it in the real focus.
Absolutely.
And, people have been more candid than they ever have been before because he's that candid. So they have felt comfortable saying things that maybe they would normally not say. And it has given everyone clearer vision with respect to, what we're really looking at in our country versus what we thought was happening.
Absolutely.
That's a positive thing. I mean, it's unfortunate where we are, but it's good to see where you are. It's good to know where you are. You don't have to like where you are, but being lost is, never a good thing, or not knowing where you are, that kind of thing. So,
absolutely.
That
good
has,
point.
That I think has been very eye-opening, and it also has given us insight into how we are viewed internationally.
Yes, absolutely, because, no one really has any problem now, especially with the introduction of social media, expressing their views. And so, it's not good. And we will definitely, like I said, we will be watching this because it's going to get very interesting. And now the time is coming. So we will see what happens. I will be stunned if they get on that floor and they decide to go in a different direction, and those super delegates and delegates decide to vote, some way different than what everyone is anticipating. If that happens, I am sure the government will be in a lawsuit for the rest of their lives. But nonetheless, it would be quite entertaining. So we will see. But I wanted to tell you a little story real quick about a former Miss Alabama. She was, a woman in pageantry. She was one of the runner-ups for one of the Miss America pageants. But Miss Alabama 1993, she was the first African-American woman to be crowned Miss Alabama.
Exactly.
In a video called "The Dallas Police Shooter, a Martyr." Her name is Miss Kaylin Chapman James, and she posted a video where she basically was telling people she didn't feel sad for the officers who lost their lives, and she was more upset at seeing black men gunned down by police. She later went on to say that the video was her attempt to express her guilt and confusion that she felt over the Dallas shooting, because basically what she was saying was, although she understood people died, she also understands that the gentleman was, in her thoughts, was a martyr because he was bringing to light the bigger picture of the police brutality. Anyway, since this young lady posted this video, she has now been placed on leave from her job. She worked for she was a television host of WBPT Z2 in Miami, and so she's been placed on leave, and she has been receiving death threats. And the Miss America pageant has actually come out and denounced, her comments, saying that they are not the views of the Miss America pageant, and that they believe that any lives lost is a tragedy. And just to clarify something, or to go further, the young lady did say, in fact, that she recognized that the human lives were lost. And that's why she was saying that for her, it was such, something that she had to deal with, because although she did feel for the people that, lost their lives, so to speak, she recognized that there was lives lost. She felt more concerned about the overall picture, the bigger picture, which was how many, black men have lost their lives to police brutality. So what are your thoughts on that?
Well, from a professional perspective, she had to know that was suicide.
Absolutely.
But I think at some point, if you're going to speak your truth, and let the chips fall within that. Because if part of our problem as African Americans, blacks, whatever we're calling it this week, is that we have had to feel like we can't speak. We are voiceless.
Right.
And we can't say what we want to say because of the repercussions. Because the truth of the matter is we have people that have said things about our president and first lady that have kept their jobs. All they had to do was apologize.
Mm-hmm.
And they're fine. But if we speak, we have to go.
Right.
And I think that's not okay. I think the Miss America pageant is whatever, You can't take her crown back from her, because at this point it doesn't matter. She won it, and she won it, and that was that.
That's right.
And I think that anybody should be able to say what they're feeling, and everyone's feeling very confused, very angry, very frustrated. You should be able to express that. However, being in communications and being a person that reports the news and works for a news outlet, I think that somehow she could have communicated her frustration a little different without saying that he was a martyr. I don't know that I see it as martyrdom. I see it as frustration. I see it as if I think it could have even been the result of, like I said, people stirring the pot. Because prior to him doing this, there were a lot of people out there saying, you know what, we got to take care of ourselves. We got to protect ourselves from the police. Because they're not going to take care of us. None of them care about us.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's mind can't handle that and process that as just something someone else is saying or feeling. They take it to heart, they take it in, and they feel like they have to do something with it. That's not necessarily...
Well, what has come out lately about this gentleman, though, is that he, they are finding out more and more about the letter that he left. And, when they came out and first discussed it in the news, they were talking about him saying, he wasn't for the Black Lives Matter movement. Well, it has been discussed, and this is all allegedly because I have no proof. I have not seen the actual letter. But some have indicated that the gentleman may have, in fact, been saying that he did it because the actions that the Black Lives Matter movement was taking was not significant enough. It was not making things happen, so to speak. And so there are actually a lot of people out there who are saying that, in fact, this gentleman is a martyr. But I think, like you said, with her being in communications, she had to know that it was, career suicide for what she said. People are not going to stand by and allow that, especially when you're talking about a man in blue. Now, if the tables were turned, and if it was a police perhaps, and the victim was, the one that ended up being perished, maybe they would have looked at it a little differently. But with it being law enforcement, I don't see where her station is going to have any other choice, with the court of public opinion than to let her go. So,
absolutely.
It's unfortunate for her. And speaking of which, another young lady who recently made a statement and has had a lot of issues was Wendy Williams. And Roland Martin lashed out. He lashed out about Wendy Williams. Well, he is going to be on her show tomorrow. Absolutely. Yeah, and it's going to air tomorrow. And so we will see, because from what I understand, they're supposed to be having some very candid discussions about race and, about how we as black people are dealing with that. And so it'll be an interesting conversation because we know, when Wendy gets pushed against the corner, she doesn't hold back. Roland Martin doesn't hold back. So it will either be a very educated, honest, brutally honest conversation, or it's going to be an all-out brawl, depending on how they go about it. And I'm hoping through it all, there will be some very frank discussions, and maybe, like we talk all the time, maybe there will be some solutions generated through the conversation or discussion. I don't know, but we will see how that all turns out. But it is 7:34.
And you'll let me know.
Yes, I will see. Yes, I will see, and I will let you know. But it is 7:34. We are No Tea with Chrita and Crys. For anyone listening, if you would like to call in, the number is 646-668-2620. We are going to have a special guest with us shortly, and we are discussing a couple topics in the news. I just have one more thing I wanted to bring up real quick, and then we will go from there. But I found a very interesting story, Chris, and you know, every once in a while, you always go and you look for these stories that, you know, people aren't talking about and that we don't often hear. And I found this story today that kind of, it agitated me. And I'm a little upset that it hasn't been more so in the news. And if it has, I must have totally missed it. But we have been talking in recent months about the human trafficking and different things like that.
Yes.
There was a couple years ago, there was a big controversy about adoptions down here in South Florida, and people were concerned about Caucasian people adopting black babies. And, you know, I often wonder when I see different families and stuff like that, how that all comes about and how things play out. And I always hope and pray that everything, you know, every child that gets a family, they go to that family in love, even though every once in a while you'll hear stories where, you know, families select a child for a particular reason and the reasons aren't so great. I came across this story, and it just troubled me so badly, but it's called A Journey of Hope for Orphan Trafficked to Sing and Choir. And basically the story was on CNN, and it's about a young man, and his name was Given Kachipa, and he was brought to America when he was 11 years old. He was orphaned in his country, and he came in 1998. He met this man named Keith Grimes, a Caucasian man named Keith Grimes, who had been visiting his village. To make a long story short, Mr. Grimes was a pastor from Whitesboro, Texas, not too far outside of Dallas. Anyway, Mr. Grimes had this high-profile faith organization called TTT, Partners in Education. And when he went to this little village, he met Mr. Kachipa, and he offered him and 11 other young boys an opportunity to come and sing here in America. And they did so with the promise that they were going to pay these young men. They would give them enough money that they could help send some of their money back to their homes, and they would also get an education. Well, you know, of course the little boys jumped on it because a number of them were orphaned, and some of them, their families, you know, didn't have much resources. So they jumped on it, and they came here to America. Well, this organization and Mr. The Keith Grimes had these young boys doing 3 to 7 concerts a day. They would sing at schools, churches, malls, you know, street corners, wherever he could take them to raise money, he would take them to sing. And they weren't being paid at all. They weren't getting any money. The only thing they was getting basically was fed and, you know, a place to sleep. And so there, you know, a couple of the older boys started to complain about the fact that they weren't getting paid, and they said that this man would then tell them, if you don't sing, you don't eat. So finally, this one lady her name is Sandy Shepard, and she was a volunteer for this organization, she started to be concerned because she was watching these young men not only have to sing, but they were having to put up bleachers and risers and take them down and set up, give out flyers, and just do all kinds of stuff, working basically all day, every day. And so she and some other people ended up reporting this Mr. Grimes, and he later became a part of a federal investigation. So as it turned out, they did, in fact, find Mr. Grimes guilty, but he passed away in 1999. But CNN had found some documents and were able to obtain some documents, and they said this organization, from these boys singing alone, had taken in over $1 million in 1 year.
Wow.
That's not the entire duration that they were there. It was 1 year's time. They had taken over $1 million. And so they ended up, the courts ended up going in, and they ended up finding that TTT was liable for $966,000 plus in back wages and civil money penalties. But by that time, Mr. Grimes was dead, and the company was bankruptcy. So these kids received absolutely no money. They have no one else to sue. There's no possible way that they could get the money from all those years they had been basically in slavery singing for this Christian organization. But one of the gentlemen here that the story was about, the Given Kachipa that I had mentioned in the beginning, the lady who turned it over to federal prosecutors ended up adopting him, because they tried to get all the other kids adopted out and no one would take him, and so they adopted him, became his foster parents, and then later adopted him. And now he just recently graduated from dental school in Texas, and now he is going back over to his country, and he's taking dental services over to his country.
That's
but
wonderful.
This story was a great news story, but it brings back to me the concern when people have these children and people see stuff, but because they're a certain type of person, no one ever wants to get involved or investigate or, raise the red flag. So I am just so proud that this woman saw something was not right and had the courage and the guts, to go and try and find out what, to tell the authorities. Because otherwise, who knows, these children could have still been singing and basically be enslaved. And I mean, they went to court in 2010. So This was not that long ago.
Yeah, that's a lot of years of their lives.
Yeah, and I mean, it's amazing. People think that we don't have the human trafficking. They don't think that people go to these foreign countries and bring people here to do certain things, and they treat them in deplorable conditions. But it's real. It is very real.
There's an athlete and I wish I could think of his name. I was watching a profile on him. The first thing that made me think of it was Michael Orr and his foster mother and how she groomed him to play ball, and he got scholarships other places, but he ended up going to her alma mater, and, how she kind of paraded herself at look what I did through this whole thing and through the movie and all of that, the Blind Side and all that.
Mm-hmm.
But there was another young man who is currently an athlete. I think he just got drafted into the NFL. His foster parents are Caucasian. They went over to Africa, and they specifically brought him back for sports. And
right.
I still think that's not okay. That's not okay. That's not his only opportunity. That's not all he's worth. If you were going to bring him back, you should have brought him back as your foster child, your adopted son, and then let him find his own path. Not look at the size of this kid, look at look what he can do, look how far he can run, let's bring him back because, we're not commodities.
Well, they're actually doing that a lot, and I think I shared with you, I'm not sure if I shared it with you or not, but in the town that I grew up in, they just had a huge news story about that because someone there had, in fact, brought a young man here to play basketball, and he lived with a Caucasian family the whole 4 years. Now, mind you, the school he is going to is a top-notch school. I wanted to go to this school when I was, in high school. My family couldn't afford it, so he was, definitely received a great education, and even their athletes receive a good education. So I know he got that, but they made a huge news story because he had not seen his mother in over 4 years because he couldn't afford to go back. So when he graduated, the school got together and raised the money to bring his mother here to see him graduate. And now he's going to college, and I suspect he will go to college and play ball. But, yes, you do have to question the motives and the intent and just, is this the way things should be done? You know what I'm saying? Because you can look at it and they're getting an opportunity to change their own lives, but at the same time, we know in the athletic world they're being pimped out.
Sure. That's the bottom line. And, you get paid to do foster care. You get paid a lot of stipends in adoption, and a lot of people don't know that. I have worked in foster care for a long time. And the one thing that used to bother me is the foster parents that never wanted to adopt because they didn't want the money to stop. Mm-hmm. And, my conversation with them was, other than the fact that this is the reason you're in it, then I may need to move this kid. The other thing was we tried to educate people that there is still money after adoption, plus these kids go to school for free.
That's right.
And they pay for the entire adoption process. The state they pay for everything, as opposed to you having to go and pay tens of thousands of dollars. So we used to encourage people to adopt through foster care. But a lot of them wouldn't do it, and it used to bother me. I mean, these kids would be in foster care 14, 15, 16 years, and you're talking about, oh, yeah, they're a part of my family, then give them your name.
That's right. That's right.
Well,
we actually have...
we got people?
Well, we have a caller that wanted to make a comment on one of the news stories. Caller, are you on the line? Caller? Okay, he must not be on the line at this moment, but hopefully he can hear us. But they definitely get into that, and you just have to question the motives. And like you said, we have so many children here, that need families and would welcome those opportunities. You know what I mean? So.
That's right.
I don't know. But
the human factor. That's all I ever say.
Yeah, and you can't help but, you can't tell someone else how to spend their money or what to do. But that's like all of these stars that are going to all these other countries getting these babies. And I'm thinking, do you know how many babies were born in the projects without mothers because their mothers might have, been drug addicted or whatever, that could use a wonderful second chance at life,
Yeah, but that doesn't catch headlines like going to Malawi and getting a child or that doesn't catch headlines.
That's it. Okay, now let me ask, caller, are you on the line?
Yeah, I'm.
Okay,
yeah,
I just wanted to make a question. Welcome. You had wanted to make a comment about the story about the former Miss Alabama?
Yeah. I listened and I pondered it, but, it's amazing when we as blacks or African Americans say what we feel or what needs to be said at that given time to worry about so much backlash and repercussions. But I applaud her because regardless of her job, she said it, and it needed to be said. So many of us sit back and worry about what's going to happen. And I listened to the you got into another story about Christians and this. We don't want to take the persecution of telling the truth. That's why we're in the situation like say, well, oh, not me. I'm not going to be the one because I got too much to lose. I can't afford to do this. I can't afford to do that. But yet we run around and tell people we got so much faith and we live a life of a Christian, but we don't act like it. We walk in fear and worry so much about what other people and what we're going to lose. Just think about if Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, Marcus Garvey, all those great leaders, if they worried about what the hell they was going to lose, they wouldn't have never did what they did. And that's what we need, more people, to stand up and say, you know what, enough is enough. And yet we look at, and I'm going to go back to, and I'm going to say this until it's over, we look at this presidential election going on. There's not one of our black elected officials standing up, holding them accountable for a darn thing that's being said and being done, and more importantly, what's not being said, the black vote being a part of this presidential election.
Absolutely.
I think John Lewis is, but he can't do it by himself.
No, he said it at one. He said it. I know John Lewis. He said it at one incident. When he get the platform, he don't do it. He don't do it. They say it in these closed sessions, and when it becomes a hit, they wait for the camera to come around on certain instances.
I think he's tired.
I do. I think he's disillusioned that we're right back where they started. That's what I think.
He's very tired.
But like I said, we don't hear no Cornel West, no Dyson. We don't hear Elijah Cummings them on to sit on the floor about some weapons. All these mass shootings have been with legal, registered guns that people acquired under their constitutional right.
Absolutely.
Well,
talking about putting more policies. Who is that? Who's the president of NAACP now? Who's the president of National NAACP? I didn't think so.
I don't know.
I'll wait.
I forget his name.
I'll wait.
All right,
He's a young man. But, my point is, I agree with you, and I said what you said. Absolutely. Suicide, but it needed to be said. And, I've said many, many, many times that we don't understand really what a movement is. Yeah. And we just have a whole bunch of people popping off and standing together. And if you ask 15 out of 100 of them, they don't know why they're there. They don't even know why they're there. Is Jim online tonight?
Is Jim on the line tonight?
Hold on one moment. He just came in. Jim, are you with us?
Yeah, I just got on.
Okay, hold on one moment.
He brought up an issue. This is 2016. A young black man got hung in Piedmont Park. I don't care a rat's butt if he committed suicide. Is not making national news, is not getting attention.
Nope.
And it won't.
That's true.
It won't.
That's true.
There's another story that came out, and it got, me and the kids kind of got like 13 seconds news time. A young black lady, 13 years old, young black child went on a field trip with her class. It was only her and probably one other two black children in the class. The young white boys threw a noose around her neck and dragged her behind around at the camp on the field trip like she was a rag doll.
Sure
and they turned around and said, "Oh, the kids was just playing." Really? What?
They sure did.
And she got burn marks and bruises around her neck. 13 years old. But we're going to look
I'll
at,
have to link to that story.
Jim, anything came out of in Atlanta on the hanging in Piedmont Park?
Yeah, yesterday they came out and said that it was a suicide. But, people had to ask, because they still on this marching bull crap, where, yesterday we had all the rappers in Atlanta. They had like two different places. They were in Town Hall in Decatur, Jeezy, Tyrese, David Banner, my man Life and David Banner got into it. I'm talking about they was about to suffer. They was about discussing, so that's the big news. They still talking about that. You had your boy 2 Chainz, who made it clear to everybody that he's the only rapper that's got a college degree. He made sure that's the first thing he said. So what?
Yeah.
Well, what? Your music's garbage anyway. You need a college degree because your music's garbage. So, but I mean, and that's all they were talking about all day yesterday. You know?
Here we go.
Garbage.
You know, I can't wait till the guest comes online tonight, because this sister has been on both sides. She's making a difference, and I'm waiting for her to come on. And this is, we need more people like that, that's doing things and not afraid to stand up.
But you know, the thing that, feeding back into what you said, there are people doing things. We just don't hear anything about it. And that's what ticks me off. It really, really ticks me off. I ran across, and I think I sent it to you and to Jim, this mobile shower for homeless people. Mm-hmm. And I think that's amazing. But ain't nobody here. I ran across that. I wasn't, it just flowed across me quickly. I ain't never heard nothing about why we're not doing that every single place. And then Joseph sent me the link. They even tell you on the webpage, if you want to do this where you are, get in touch with us. People are doing amazing things. We just don't hear anything about it.
Okay, well, let me just say this, because our guest for this evening is actually on the line, and so I want to bring her in, and gentlemen, by all means, stay with us in the discussion. I'm pulling her in now, and Ms. Lewis, are you here?
Yes, I am.
Hello,
wonderful,
Ms.
wonderful.
Lewis.
Welcome to No Tea with Chrita and Crys. We are so glad to have you.
And thank you for having me.
Thank you so much.
Well, we also have Mr. Jim Brown. He is our sports commentator. He's joining us this evening. And we also have Terrence on the line as well. He has been very excited for you to be here. Before we get started, tell everyone, if you would like to call in, the number is 646-668-2620. That's 646-668-2620. And Ms. Lewis, we actually have both read your bio, but why don't you tell us a little bit in your own words some of your story, and we know that you have your children with a vision, and so tell us a little bit about where you're coming from and what your purpose is with your organization.
Okay, a little bit about myself. I come from a broken home, raised by a single mother. Went through a lot of adversities coming out of Miami, Florida. Basically, I thought we were poor, but my mother mismanaged money and made us poor. Learning that I was sexually molested at 5, then again at 7 by poor choices of my mother. I was pregnant at the age of 13. I lost a little girl at 8 months, stillborn pregnancy. Then I buried that little girl at 13 when I should have been playing with baby dolls. I left home at the age of 13 and lived in the streets of Tampa, Florida, and did many, many things. Got arrested, hanging around wrong people, making wrong choices. Then went from that to actually meeting a gentleman that had multiple money but wrong consequences in choices of selling drugs. I did not sell drugs, but I was around the money. I experienced first getting in trouble at that age, 15 years old. Then I went off to Yulee, Florida, which is a girls' camp, canoeing on the Swanee River for 30 days. Leaving there, came back home, ended up getting in some more trouble, and still highlighted about that money, that lifestyle. Ended up getting in trouble at the age of 18. I experienced going to prison at the age of 18. Did 1 year, 1 month in Florida, Lowell Correctional Institution. And at a short time, that's when they gave out a lot of CRD. I got out. I did 2 months on that. Came home, still around that lust of money. At that time, I got married. My husband was killed. At the age of 21, he was killed. He was an innocent bystander, got shot by a stray bullet. I ended up burying my husband. And tragedies went on. I was pregnant again and had tubal pregnancy. And at that time, I ended up hanging around that lifestyle again. But this time, they wanted to give me 33 years out of my life. I was sentenced to 7 years, followed by 15 years probation. I came home. I did 1 year, 1 month on the 7-year sentence, and I came home on 15-year papers, and I successfully completed 15 years probation. And right then and there, I know consequences and choices. So I ended up getting my own lawn service after a couple of jobs discriminated against me, being a convicted felon. Being a convicted felon, they wanted to subject you to Burger King, McDonald's jobs, but I knew that my mentality was more than that. So I ended up getting a lawnmower, a weed eater, and I went out there and I opened up my own lawn service, which I still successfully have after 24 years of prison. Since I was. So then and there, I wanted to actually opened up a foundation, which was Children with a Vision, and I started that because my life revolved around consequences and choices. So I wanted to let other young adults know that your choices and your consequences dictate your future. So I had to stay busy because my mind revolved around financial stability, and I knew that I had to stay busy to keep my mind, because we're still young. I was still vulnerable to temptation, but I know that door that closed on me twice, I knew it was available for me to do it again if I was to get in trouble. But my mind knew that I was not going to be subjected to prison ever again, because I felt like I was wasted talent behind their bars. So, therefore, I started my lawn service, and then again, tragedy hit again. I raised a young lady in my house for 5 years because I know what slamming doors and people closing doors to you. So the young lady, after 5 years, I woke up being stabbed 21 times in my sleep. I was involved in attempted murder, but I'm still here. So at that time, I asked, how much more? What is my purpose? And the Lord told me then, I have a purpose for you. I took you all through this to be able to let you know that you can take somebody else out of it. So, again, at that time, I just said, enough was enough. And I asked the Lord what was my purpose again. And he said, I built you for this. So again, I just actually started with Children with a Vision and got full force. It started with doing 50 book bags in my backyard, giving back to the community along with my lawn service, just steady, maintaining daily my livelihood. And then from there, 50 book bags turned in now to thousands of book bags 24 years later. I have the accommodation of the city of Tampa. I have a proclamation. I have accommodation from the United States government. I successfully completed 15 years probation. I've been advocating in Tampa, Florida for a long time. I have a couple of programs, again, 24 years with the Back to School, which is coming up August 7th. We have a Community Fun Day, which is coming up July the 31st. We just completed our 4th annual Grandmother's Gala, where we take 135 to 50 grandmothers and we treat them like princes and princess, and they are accompanied by 150 young males out of the community as chaperones. We feed the homeless third month. We have a homeless retreat that we feed every Thanksgiving. It's called Thanksgiving Blessings, where we go out on the streets and we forget about us having Thanksgiving, and my sponsors and their families and all of us come out and fellowship with the veterans, the homeless, the less fortunate, and we sit down and we have tables. We don't feed them cold sandwiches. They eat turkey, ham, dressing, macaroni and cheese, and then I'm a licensed caterer too as well, so I cook all the food. So I wear many hats. There's never enough time in a day. When I get through one project, I'm on to the next one. So I stay busy. Jesus didn't rest 33 years that he walked this earth, so what is my purpose?
Wow.
Oh, my goodness. Well, I have to tell you, I am sitting here just amazed. because we talk on this show all the time, and we have a lot of different women that come on the show and they share their stories. I will put it out on the table. I've had a very, very blessed life. I've never really, when I was younger, never really had to have a lot of adversities. So to hear you at that age, and I'm thinking back, what was I doing at the ages that she's talking about? To hear your strength and the fact that you came up and looked for ways to grow and to be more positive and to help other people, to me that's incredible. Because I don't know if I would have had that same strength at that young age. So I'm floored. I'm floored.
Just blessed. I'm just blessed and anointed, and I'm favored.
Absolutely.
And humble. And humble.
Absolutely.
I am completely impressed just by the fact that you not only decided that you were going to overcome, but that you would help others do the same. And a lot of people do overcome things, but that's where it ends. And you have extended your blessings to others. And that is what is so, so needed in our communities, in our neighborhoods, in our cities and states, in our country. We need people to be able to give back because they want to, not because they're expecting anything in return, but because they understand where they were, and if they got through it, they want to help someone else get through it. That is inspiring beyond belief.
But also as well, overall, just a couple of months ago, I found myself being mentally drained, doing and helping. And what I come to find out, we have to start holding our community accountable. We have to start holding our leaders accountable. We have to start holding our pastors accountable. In the last couple of months, strongly, they almost killed my desire to be a blessing to others because they have a sense of, people think that you owe them and have a sense of entitlement of what we do and the services that we render to them. And charity starts at home. Before you come out to the pastor, police, and preacher, it starts with you. And we have to go back into these homes, and we have to restructure and evaluate to the parents who are kids themselves now.
You're absolutely right. You are absolutely right. And that's the one thing that people don't understand, that those who are givers often need to back up for a minute and care for themselves. And it is not just on your shoulders to take on the world. It has to be a collective movement. It has to be a collective responsibility and accountability, as you said, to hold those who vie for these positions in our communities accountable for what they say they're going to do.
Correct.
Because you can't do it alone. It will drain you. It will take away your spirit if you allow it to do it.
But you know what? You have to research things, too, and that's why we have such a disarray with a lot of things right now. And, I was faced, and so have a lot of us been faced with what we've been seeing across the world and in the media right now. And, again, we have to fellowship in love. We have to come together as one, because if we don't, we're going to be self-destructing in this world. And we got to go back to the table as far as pastors, polices, and there's no sense of notoriety. People have to keep out notoriety. People have to keep out a sense of it's an I, it's we. We have to work together.
That's right. Absolutely. It is a collective effort. And, it's not about photo ops and things like that. And people get so caught up and making it about them, and it's not. True charity
right.
has nothing to do with you. It has to do with what you want to do for other people and how you want to bless other people. And, you know, I always think about, and I say every once in a while in my feed, go out and do or say something to or for somebody and don't tell anybody.
Correct.
Right.
Don't tell anybody. Just go do it. Because it's not really about who saw you do it, who's going to hear what you did. That does not make the difference. The difference is made that you just did it. And keep it moving. You know, and that person will be inspired to help someone else. And, you know, I am really, really grateful that you have come to share your story with us, because there are so many that have been abused, that have had tragedy after tragedy, that just believe they can't make it anymore. And they do ask that question, how much more can I take?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Miss Lewis, what would, you know, we've had a couple of young women on here not too long ago, and we've had some that have been victims of sexual abuse. We had some who were in abusive relationships with spouses, and, you know, they all have found that strength to get out of that circumstance and to now empower and you know, help other people. What is the one thing, I know you said you were very blessed, but if you are talking to a young woman right now who you see in a similar situation, or, you know, that comes to you and they're asking you that, what would be the one thing you would tell them? What would be the one thing you would use to encourage or to help them see the world in a different light?
First of all, we have to let them know that they're not alone. A lot of people think they're isolated, and this only happens to them. And it takes people like myself, who's been a victim, and others to come out instead of being ashamed, tell the stories, because that'll let someone else come out of their shame. When I wrote my life story just not too long ago, because my corporate sponsors asked what drives me. And at that point, I didn't want to tell them anything because I didn't want them to know the inside of Tonya Lewis. But knowing that these sponsors, you only have limited time to let them know why you're there and what you're there for. And at the end of the day, it's about their money to help your community. So at that time, I ended up telling them a little bit about me. And they say, promise me you'll write a book. And I'm sitting in the headquarters of McDonald's. And at that time, I went home and I wrote my life story. And that life story opened up a can of worms. And when it opened up a can of worms, because I actually never exposed my life or really never revisit that closet. And when I did revisit that closet, it opened up hours of crying. I actually fell asleep. But when I woke up, I wrote that story, and I actually put it out on Facebook. And a lot of my colleagues and friends, they were calling. Half was crying. Half of my colleagues wanted to see me in their offices. And they were like, my God, I didn't know this happened to you, but I can understand now why you have the drive that you have. But again, I say to you, some of my friends actually were sexually molested, and they came to me and they told me I inspired them, and they actually told me that they were raped by their father, and they never told anyone. I actually was with a family that one of my colleagues asked me to come to her home, and she was on the brink of divorce, and she said, I want you to be with me when I tell my husband I was molested by my father. And at that time, her sons were there, too, because actually the father was taking care of the household while the mother was in a lot of depression. And when she broke that story, and I'm here to tell you today that they are still married. They did their 10th year anniversary, and they went through counseling. So sometimes the story can inspire others. When you think you are ashamed, you're a blessing to someone else.
Yes, we have another caller on the line. I'm gonna pull our caller in and see if they have any questions for Miss Lewis. Caller, you're on the line. Did you have a question or a comment?
It's Andrea.
Hi, Andrea. Welcome to the show.
Hi. I'm just tuning in, so I just heard the last bit of what Miss Lewis said about shame and how it definitely keeps us quiet because you don't want people to know things that you've been through, especially detrimental things and things that you might think would bring a dark light on you even more. It actually brings light and allows God to work in somebody else's life through what you've gone through, the storms, the pain, the hail that you've gone through. God will use that to shine light on someone else.
Amen.
Absolutely. So, well, please continue to join us. We are going to continue with Miss Lewis, and if anyone would like to call in, the number is 646-668-2620. That's 646-668-2620. So, Ms. Lewis, tell us a little bit about your children's organization and how you, I understand that you partner with other organizations to, get the things that you need for the children. How do you determine what activities you have for the children, and what are some of the things that you have coming up that people can look forward to?
Well, on July the 31st, we have Community Fun Day, and I am a partner with She Helps to Empower, which my colleague friend name is Trinette Ingram. And we were actually brainstorming one day as we were going to an event in Clearwater, Florida, a networking event, and we were saying, what happened to the good old days? Where kids used to go outside. We used to play volleyball, football, where we used to have the blankets and listen to music, and your family members, the mothers was in one corner, the children are out playing. And then we actually sat back and say, kids don't do that anymore. Every time you turn around, you see social networking and technology in their hand. You see these cell phones, or they on PlayStations. And so we came up with Community Fun Day. And what it is, put the cell phones down. And we're going to be playing board games in the park. We're going to be playing football, volleyball, sack race, and soul train line. So last year was our first year, and we had it at Picnic Island. And we had a couple of families come out, and the kids came out, and they were forced to come out, and they were looking crazy with attitudes. And the family, the adults, were actually really having a nice time. And we were playing hula hoop, and, I'm a bad sportsman. I'm going to admit to that. And I don't like to lose. So me and my colleague friend, who I joined in partnership with, she was hula hooping. And make a long story short, she was hula hooping better than me, and I forgot that she was my colleague. And I beat her down with the hula hoop. Then I jumped on her, and then we was walling in the grass, and then we both was itching the rest of the day. And therefore the kids just looked at us, and they videotaped it, and they say, look at them. And we laughed so hard. And then, the children came out, and they started playing one by one. And then we started dancing, and we have a live DJ outside who always did pro bono. Matter of fact, he's been my DJ now 24 years for free.
Wow.
And that is a blessing. And I had a lot of my business colleagues to come out, which they have nonprofit organizations themselves. So my whole thing is that the self-notoriety is not just one. We have multiple organizations come together, and they bring their kids and their board members, and we just made it a day of fun. And so, again, we're having that July the 31st at Rolette Park from 12 to 6. and the commentator is going to be Ebony Cruz, and we have vendors. There are going to be a health component, so there will be vendor tables out giving out literature and information that I think is very well needed. AIDS prevention, we have health providers coming out that's going to be giving information, and there's nothing to be sold. If you're going to participate in this event, everything is to be given free. You got to give back
That's
sometime.
amazing. That's amazing.
Yes, it is.
That's
Yes, it
amazing. You know, the
And
one thing that you... No, go on, please.
No, go ahead, Sylvia.
No, the one thing that you pointed out that I love is that other organizations come and partner with you. And a lot of times we don't want to do that. We want it just to be about us and our organization. It can't be. This has to be a collective. You know, everybody has their own way of helping, and everyone brings something to the table. So look what you were able to do by bringing so many together that you may not have been able to provide just on your own. That makes a difference, to support one another as you support your community. That's huge.
It is very much huge. You know, my mentality was, I'm from Miami, Florida, and I can remember even going through my adversities with my mom and everything, I can say that we were always involved in something in Miami. My mother did do that, and I think that's the reason why I have some of the qualities that I have today, because she made us volunteer. We know about the Girl Scouts, Boy Scouts. We know about ceramics, macrame. She did keep us busy in that aspect, and I must give her that credit, in keeping me occupied. So to me, I stand on grassroots. Even going through my adversities, it was always grassroots, and my organization is very grassroots.
That's amazing. I'm so encouraged.
For sure. Now, Ms. Lewis, I have a question for you. We had a young lady on our program several months back, Miss Barbara Fair. She was part of My Brother's Keeper, and she was here talking about prison reform and some of the laws associated with prison reform. You indicated that you finished out 15 years probation, which I know is no easy feat. So what are your thoughts on some of the initiatives that are going on now to change the public school to prison pipelines and some of the reductions in sentences for, the minor drug laws that they have going on? What are your thoughts about prison reform in this country right now?
I'm going to say personally, how can we invest more money into prisons more than we invest into schools?
Absolutely.
And it's designed. When I speak to our young men and young ladies, because now we got more young ladies going to prison more than we have our young men, because they're taking these young men charges. And I will tell them this, and I will say this, is that I look at a lot of these reentry programs that are a joke out here. And when I say a joke, because when I came home from prison in 1993, in prison they tell you all of this stuff is available for you when you get out, and they teach you this 6 months prior to you coming home. I think there's a lack of communication when you come out of prison to reentry into the, as they say, free world, back into society. They forgot to say a lot of these programs don't exist. So when you got a offender coming out and they think in this folder that's in their hand, they can go to all these resources. But what they forgot to say, there hasn't been an update to let you know some of these doors which you knock on, they have closed signs or it's another business there. So that little hope get knocked down out of that person. Then they say that you can go here to this center and get this help, but they forgot to tell you that they don't have enough funding for that program, and they send you to someone else. I say that
Right.
because it was done to me like that. And I knocked on a lot of doors, and a lot of people paper pushed me along the way. They gave me phone numbers, but when I went to call, they didn't answer. And I say this because it's very dear to me, because when I had doors shut to me in so many ways, and I had 15-year probation hanging over my head, that means I had to do right. But when you have that hanging over your head and you going out here to these organizations that's supposed to be reentry programs, and they're not for the people, then you put lost hope into these young men or young ladies like I did. And that is the reason why, personally, Children with a Vision started, because of what I went through. And I promised myself and I promised God that I will be a resource center, and as long as I can, get information. And I really tap a lot of my time, personally, out of my life, to go to city council meetings, to go to school board meetings, to go to network meetings, to be able to understand what is out here, to be able, because I get a lot of phone calls from prison. I get a lot of phone calls from people that's on the street, every average day mothers and fathers. Miss Lewis, what's available, what's not, what's this, and I make sure that I catch up on that. But what I found out, too, we can also pacify people, but people got to be able to go learn stuff for themselves.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Self-advocacy.
And that's true.
Yeah.
But I think it's, to me, it's a setup. It is designed to lock up our people. It is a prison, money-made industry. The prisoners, they are actually, to me, I say it's old slavery. You know, when I was inside of there, they wanted to tell me I was subjected to cutting the yard. I say, how do you tell me that I'm supposed to be reformed and that you're supposed to reform me when you're trying to make me work in the kitchen and I don't have any education? I need my education. So at that time, I actually asked the sergeant, I say, so you subjected me to a Burger King and McDonald's job when I leave here. I said, you know that I am 18 years old. You know in my record that I do not have my high school diploma. You offer schooling in here, and you did not ask me did I need to go to school, but you tell me that I can cook. So they released me out of population of cooking because I was one of the main cooks. And they let me go to school, and therefore I failed my GED because we as African American, with our broken dialogue, English was not my subject. But I actually got tutored more in English, and I passed it after failing it 3 times. And then I went into cosmetology, and I was 100 hours from completing my cosmetology. I went into substance abuse 1 and 2, not because I did drugs, but because I had the lust of money. I sat around women who they had stories saying they sold their kids for drugs and they what they did for drugs. So what it did was dampen my spirit of being that person who had the lust of money, supplying them. So I let it eat in my spirit. Then I also went in drafting. I went in drafting class. So these are all the certificates that I have. But even having all those certificates, how can the system tell you that you can work inside of here and you can get all these certificates, but when then you come in these streets, they don't even acknowledge those certificates? So that's another disappointment. You tell these men that they can work out here on the side of the roads, but when they come home, they can't even get a City of Tampa job.
Wow.
That's right.
I'm telling you.
Right.
I think there's a disconnect, but we all know, to tell you the truth, we all know personally, we already know that it's designed like this.
That's
it's
right.
designed for our men to fail. It's designed. So what we have to teach our young men and young ladies is not to be wasted talent, and that you mean more than that. And we need more our leaders. We need more our community people to step up to the plate. Instead of sitting around a happy hour, we need to take one, reach one, and teach one.
Yeah. That's right. That's exceptional. Well, we have had some women on here, and one of the things that I in particular believe is that, like I was saying on Monday's show, and I'll say it again, this is nothing against the men, but I truly believe that everyone's hopes and dreams start in the eyes of their mother, and if we can get some women, strong women like yourself and like some of the other women we've had on this show, to get out in the communities like you do and mentor these children and, teach the men how to mentor the children and, different things like that, then we can start reaching, these kids one at a time, just a little bit. And so I'm going to tell you all, and I know that, the people listening may or may not have seen your Facebook page or something like that, but if you follow Ms. Lewis on Facebook, you will see that she is always having something going on, She's always active in the community, and that's what we need to see more of. We need to see people who are, out there in the trenches, as the old folks used to say, not only talking the talk, but walking the walk. So
there it is.
It's true. It is very true. But we certainly appreciate you taking time out of your schedule this evening and coming to join us, because we wanted to highlight not only some of the things that you're doing, but just to encourage some other women, because I've found since we started doing this show, and Chris, I'm sure you would agree, in doing this show, we found that so many women have experienced so many of the same situations as young ladies and never said anything. And now that we're talking and discussing it in this forum, people are coming forward saying, you know what, I went through the same thing. You know what I mean? Yeah. And it's giving people an opportunity to find fellowship amongst other women, because, we've been so afraid to say things, and we've stepped back and let things happen to us or have things happen to us, and we don't say anything because we're embarrassed or ashamed, or, we feel the guilt that is always associated with women. But through this forum, we're able to get through some of that. So
that's right. That's right.
I think it's a wonderful thing.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you. I think you hit on some really incredible points, and even more importantly, oftentimes people want to help, but they don't know where to start. And I think the point that you're making and things we've discussed before is everybody wants to start something huge. You don't necessarily have to start big. You have to start, first of all. You have to start. And then you start small and build, because you inspire other people to want to do. When they see that you're out there doing things, like you said, taking it to the streets and letting people know what you're doing and that you care, and asking questions and giving resources. And I love the thought of your fun day, because I can envision myself out there hula hooping you out.
I'm going to say please don't do that, because I forget about that. I forget about we colleagues. I do.
Throwing it out there.
I'm just saying, please don't do that.
Should I decide to travel down there?
Yes, ma'am.
I don't mean no harm. I'd have to film it all. I would have to sit there and watch you both.
But the beauty in what happened and what you did is showing kids how we used to be able to play,
correct,
and still be fine afterward.
And
we can roll around all day. Sure. That was playing. We were playing. We were competitive. We challenged each other. Because, of course, if you beat me next year, I'm going to come back with my game all stepped up, thinking, it encourages.
And I will say this, me and my colleague who I'm partnering with to help to empower, she put something on Facebook the other day, and she had a hula hoop, and she told me, I'm calling you out. And she know that annoys me. She know it annoys me. And then I went back on Facebook and I say, you ain't ready. So, right now I got my armor fatigue shorts, I got my combat boots, and I went and bought that little black stuff that they put up under their face that they play football.
Oh no, you didn't.
Yes, yes, I'm ready for it this year. And I've been trying to hoop. And by the time I get to her, see, I got a videographer this year, so I got to step up my A game.
Oh goodness!
Well, I don't mean
any
harm.
Get you this year, but next year, look out.
Look, I'm going to try to be the roving reporter, and if I have an opportunity, I'm going to come down and tape it and have it on notice so we can all enjoy
baby.
it. It'll be the Thriller in Manila.
It's going down.
And also, I want to also say this. I have another community partner as well, and it's called Restoration of Parents. And actually, I'm here in Atlanta. I'm really on vacation, but vacation is never a vacation because I was here helping a young lady who lost her son to death, a tragedy. As a matter of fact, her son got killed and 5 other kids got shot. He was coming home from college. And she's standing here with me, and I know she wasn't planned to be on your show, but I just want to let you know how a strong mother is still dealing with a court case that is still lingering, but then also finding the strength to open up her own nonprofit, which is called Restoration for Parents. And what she do is provide services to other families that have tragedies such as hers. She gives money towards either the burial or either the food, and it goes directly to the payee. But her services render. Matter of fact, her name is Latasha Brown, and she's standing here now, Miss Chrita. And I want to let you ask her a couple of questions about her organization as well, because I feel like a lot of people, when we say strong women who have dealt with a lot, and she has some of the similar past that I have also as well. So her name is Latasha Brown, Miss Chrita.
That's awesome. Absolutely.
Thank you for coming on.
Hello,
Ms. Brown, are you here?
I'm here.
Wonderful.
Hello,
welcome to No Tea with Chrita and Cryss.
Hi, how are you guys doing this afternoon?
We are blessed to have you.
Yes.
We're blessed to have you both. What you're doing is amazing. We offer, of course, our condolences and pray your strength, but look what you're doing. Tell us about it.
Well, what I do is, instead of me turning my sorrow into sadness, I find joy in helping other mothers because I was blessed with the support of my family, that my son didn't have to do a GoFundMe account or, we had to wait around. We was able to, everything was provided, everybody chipped in, and we was able to do what we need to do to get my son buried. Now, as I watch the feed lines on Facebook and as I watch the news, it hurts me when mothers crying out and saying that they can't bury their children. So what I do is I bring awareness. I'm in contact with insurance agencies. I'm in contact with spiritual counsels. I'm in contact with counselors. We need to start learning to sign our youth up because we're not passing when we get older. They're leaving here young. And a lot of people don't know it's only $10 a month to sign your child up for like a $100,000 policy or a $50,000 policy to make sure that these babies are buried the right way. And we need to educate ourselves. And I do mentoring. I speak at the colleges. I speak at the high schools. And I just put the word out there and let kids know it's okay to walk away. It takes a coward to stay. If you feel uncomfortable in any situation, walk away. Live another day to tell a story, but don't stay and prove a point and make your mother cry.
That's right. That's right.
Share us because it was kind of quick. Share the name of your organization again, please.
It's Restoration for Parents.
Okay.
Am I on the right page where it says the tragic death of Wally Clanton Jr.?
Yes, ma'am. That's him.
Okay.
That's my page.
All right. Okay, I'll be sharing that
and
right
we
now
also,
on our page.
Yeah, thank
we
you
also
so
have
much.
on the line with us Mr. Jim Brown. Jim, are you here? Okay, he must have stepped away for a moment.
I'm still here.
You're here?
I'm here.
Because he's also in the Atlanta area, and we have ma'am, what's your name again? And I do apologize.
Latasha Brown.
Latasha Brown. We have Mr. Jim Brown on the line with us. He is also in the Atlanta area. Jim, Miss Latasha Brown has an organization called Restoration for Parents there in Atlanta. So I just wanted to introduce the two of you two in case you cross paths or have some things that you all might be able to do also. But we thank you so much for sharing your story, because I'm going to tell you, unfortunately, we have been seeing way too much violence in the news. We are seeing, unfortunately, way too many parents having to bury their children. And you're right, we don't always take the time to get the insurance for our children. I remember when I was talking to an insurance agent, they were like, well, you don't really need it for your children. It's a waste of time because, your children
They're going to outlive
are going to live a long
Yeah.
life. But that's not guaranteed anymore,
Nope.
So I think this is an amazing project. So tell us, you said you speak at schools and stuff. Do you do any, vendor booths, or what are some other ways that you get the word out about your organization?
Recently, I just did a fundraiser. You'll see on my page. I did one in Florida where I did a fish fry to raise money. I did one on Easter up here where we did a barbecue. And then I just went to Children's Healthcare of Atlanta, and I donated gift bags to the kids that have cancer because they're stuck in the hospital. So my organization donated bags to all 50 kids that have cancer at the hospital. So
Yeah,
I've been getting the word out. So I just find joy in, I can't get my baby back, but my son had a good, wholesome spirit. So I just love helping, and I love making kids feel better. And I'm going to continue to spread the word. I'm going to continue to spread the word, and the more I help, the more it heals. So sometimes healing is not just praying. Sometimes healing is helping other people. If I sow a seed, like when I give my speeches, and I tell those kids, I may speak to 80 of y'all, but if I just reach one of y'all, then that's one life that I've saved. And one little boy emailed me back and said, ma'am, I appreciate you for coming to our school, and I'm going to change my life and my surroundings. And I told him, thank you. That's one life that I saved out of 100 that I spoke with that day, on that day.
And it makes a difference. It makes a difference. I am moved by what you do and grateful that you took time to speak with us. Please let us know what you're doing. We post this information to our Notee page. I've already posted your Facebook information to our Notee page for people to be able to go and look at how you're blessing others. And you are very, very much correct that oftentimes in our sorrow and in our grief we find healing in helping.
Right.
We find
and that's
healing
why I
in
can
helping.
remind.
So let me ask you this real quick, Ms. Brown. If someone wanted to make a donation or to help your organization in any way, how do they go about doing that? Do they go through the Facebook page to contact you, or how does someone make a donation?
Do you have a website?
Her website will be up as of tomorrow morning. Then you'll be able to go on PayPal to make a donation.
Excellent.
That's excellent.
Okay, you ladies, please let us, know what you're doing and the progress so that we can share some of your efforts on Notee, because we definitely like to pass this kind of information, on both our Twitter and Facebook pages, and share to the people that are listening and following. And we are very appreciative, and we appreciate the fact that you took time out of your schedule to come and join us. You are two very powerful women, and you encourage us to continue to do the things that we are trying to do to make an impact on our communities. This is Cryss and I's little world and our little opportunity to make a change and to bring awareness to some of the stuff that's going on out there. And, we're trying to do our thing to get the word out. And so we are inspired by you ladies, and we thank you both for joining us.
Thank you so much.
I'm also located on Twitter. I'm on Facebook. I'm on Instagram. I'm anywhere in social media that's where I'm located. I will be in town in Tampa on the 29th. I would love to stop by your station if you want to do a one-on-one interview with me so I can give you, I have just some insight on some of the speeches that I've given and leave a couple of posters with you of my son that has his story on the back of it.
Absolutely. We will definitely make sure that we get that information, and I will tell you, for those of you who want to hear Miss Lewis a little later, Miss Lewis is going to be part of the Diamond Tour that is going to be in November, and we will share some more information about that also. And so I just thank you both, ladies. And in case you two don't know, by the way, Cryss is actually in Baltimore, and tragically, Baltimore is at an all-time high homicide rate right now. And so she has been really, lifting her voice to try and educate and make a difference in her community up in there because, it is really, really getting out of control to the point where she was out there, holding some people accountable with her video and camera, and she's our roving reporter too. So, I'm looking to capture photos of hula hoops, and she's capturing photos of the police doing things that they may not supposed to be doing. So, it is what it is, but like I said, we just thank you both, and we hope that you all will join us again. Feel free to join us at any time because, we have an open forum here, and we get very silly on the show sometimes, but our goal is to, bring these types of stories to the forefront, bring amazing women like yourselves to the forefront. And so we look forward and hope that you will join us again.
I will, and thank you guys for listening to my story.
Thank you very much. I actually I will get both you ladies contact information, because one thing I do believe is that when you can do something successfully one place, it can be replicated somewhere else.
Yes,
and we need help up here, really
and
bad.
I want to come and help. And I want to come and help.
We really need help. I mean, we've had 6 murders today.
Oh, what?
And 3 of them were over that Pokemon game.
Pokemon.
It's just out of control up here. So we need all the help that we can get. And I know that people need what you ladies are doing. I know it.
Well, you can definitely count on Restoration for Parents for backing and speaking and whatever you need me to come up and do. And Children with a Vision.
That's a lesson. And those are the things that Chrita and I talk about when we started this. This is what we wanted. And I know that you all are going to connect with Jim Brown down in Atlanta, because he's doing some amazing things as well. And do connect with him, because I see nothing but good things coming out of all of that.
That's right.
Okay.
That's right. And
just
so that you all know, I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you.
Could you please give me Jim Brown's information or provide me with his information?
Absolutely. And we can text it to you, but we'll just tell you because, in lieu of the seriousness of everything that we've been discussing, to add a little bit of sunshine to this conversation, Jim Brown has the best, I don't even want to say ribs, the best meat in Atlanta and the best barbecue sauce in Atlanta. So he
here we
is
go.
all over town. Jim, are you here? He's in and out periodically.
Yeah.
So
You might
okay. We was just telling them you have
Chris.
the best meat in town. So we are going to, if it is okay with you, we are going to share your information with these ladies. Also, because especially Miss Brown is right there in Atlanta, so maybe you all can, connect and do some kind of event or something in your area.
That's fine. That's fine.
But yes, he's the barbecue king, the meat king, and so if you haven't heard, you're gonna know now.
He'll put an animal on that grill in a minute.
Oh, he will.
There you go.
An animal, I don't know, sometime bison, whatever, I don't know. He will put it on that grill.
Sure. And you will like it too.
I will not.
Wait. He sounds like he has some confidence behind his expertise.
Oh my goodness!
If you only knew.
Like I tell people, I ain't got no insurance when you bite your finger off. That's on you. Bite your finger off, that's on you. You're gonna have a dub.
There you go.
See, I like that
States don't cover that. All states don't cover that.
That's right.
Oh my gosh. That's the business right there. But this is a platform for networking. This is a platform for affecting positive change. And however we can do that, we want to do that. And we are so grateful that you all, every one of you that are with us tonight, those even who are listening or will listen to our podcast, we thank you so much for your support. It means the world to us. And, we hope that we can continue to bring information that is useful. We're not here just to talk. We want to be not only efficient, but we want to be effective in positive change. And we want to be change agents, and we want to help you realize the change agent in you, because we are all change agents. So, we just want to bring that out. And one more thing I really wanted to say to you, Ms. Lewis, and thank you for talking about it. And it's just that thinking you're alone in your situation.
Correct.
When you talk about it, you recognize and realize, hey, that happened to me too. And if she can speak about it, so can I. That is so healing. It's so healing. It's tough to do.
That's it.
And it takes great, great courage to speak out about what has happened to you, because we often blame ourselves for things that happen. And those are the things that you don't want to talk about. But you just realize you're not alone. And there are people that understand where you have been and where you want to go, and understand this, if nothing else. Never, ever stop dreaming. Let nothing stop you from dreaming and being confident that your dreams can come to fruition.
Amen.
That's right. That's right. That is the truth. Well, this has been an amazing show. I thank you, ladies, and feel free to stay with us if you would like. We have about 8 minutes left in the show, and I'm going to revert it over to Mr. Brown, because he is our sports commentator, to see if he had anything to report to us this evening. Anything we might need to know, Mr. Brown?
No. I mean, no.
What? Good.
What?
No, I mean, because the All-Star game was on yesterday. I told y'all I'm not into that baseball. No big news. Dwight Howard signed with the Hawks today. Who cares? I live in Atlanta, but I'm not a big fan.
Draymond Green got arrested.
Yeah, he did.
And he got arrested for assault. A brother let a fight, don't he?
But there is some articles on Charles Barkley talking about the all the stuff that's going on with the police. It's kind of interesting because Barkley's basically saying, I feel what he's saying, but Barkley is such a controversial kind of guy that
oh Lord, what do you say now?
Saying, you know what? I love the police. My bodyguard is a black policeman. The black community need to stop crying about police killing everybody and start crying about black on black crime, which I understand what he's saying. But he's, it's, if you listen to him talk, you'd be like, okay, this dude right here, he's just so anti-black. But I mean, that's how Charles is. But it's a good article, though. It's a real good article.
He should be slapped in his bald head sometime.
I mean, you got to love to hate Charles Barkley.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I do, and I always have. I don't want to like him, but I just do. You ain't got no more sports news. I'm
well,
shocked about a few things.
The ESPYs is on right now.
Is it? Did I win anything?
Jay Watt, he just presented somebody with something.
I didn't win anything this year? Nobody voted for me?
No, he ain't winning nothing. He's not winning nothing.
Wow.
But he was on there. He was just a presenter. So, I mean, as far as sports, there's really nothing going on. I forgot to tell you guys about my cousin who was in the Olympic tryouts last Saturday before the 4th. He had his jumps, and he didn't make the Olympics. He came in sixth place.
He did, but he did remarkable, and I watched. I watched,
he did good.
And he did remarkable. He had one jump. He put it out there. And he gave those guys pause. Did you see how they were looking back at him?
Yeah,
like, uh-oh.
Yeah, he did his thing. I mean, if you check out his bio, he's an engineer already. He's already got a job working, and he's going to continue to train. His job is going to allow him to continue to train. So it's not over for him. So
not at all. He's very young.
He hadn't heard the last.
He's very young. He's eager to do and he works on his form all the time. So he's going to be amazing come next year's Worlds. We're not even talking about 4 years from now. What about when the season starts? Next year when the indoor season starts and then the outdoor season, you will see a significant difference in this young man. And I can see him within the next year or two taking the Worlds on this from Jerry and Lawson. I see it.
The girl, there's a girl at North Carolina State. She was trying out. I think she was like ACC female athlete, and that's actually his girlfriend. So she was there too. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. I'm gonna tell you, these youngsters are doing it. I mean, you got Lauren Hernandez, 16 years old, on the gymnastics team. She made the 5, and then you got a high schooler who I believe made the 100 or the 200. So many surprises, and these kids are 16, 17 years old making it.
Okay, we have a caller on the line. Caller, are you with us?
Hi, this is Stacy.
Hey,
hi, Stacy. Welcome.
Hi. Thank you. I'm sorry I'm late. I just got out of Bible study, and I didn't want to not jump on tonight. And I want to just say thank you for your support. And I missed last week, so just trying to transition, getting through orientation and everything for the next program. And I just flew back in town from graduation, but I just want to chime in and leave everyone with a good message, because I know y'all get ready to close out, is to whatever dreams that need to be fulfilled, keep an open mind, an open heart, and don't give up. I've experienced a lot of people, they told me this week that they wanted to give up and that they heard my story. I've explained my story several times, how I've gotten to where I've gotten to, and the struggles that I've gone through to get to where I am, and it's not an easy task. I just want to encourage everybody out there who want to get through any goals or follow any dreams, just to stay positive, have an open mind, and just believe in what you can do.
That's all right.
Awesome. And belated happy birthday.
Thank you.
There you go.
Thank you.
All of that, right? We're so proud of you.
We have about a minute left, so if you all want to finish any last comments, you have about a minute left.
If y'all don't say something, I'm going to rap.
Somebody say something.
I'm going to say through everything that's going on, it's not just here in Baltimore, but when I was in Chicago this past week, the same thing on the news, left and right. Even in Chicago, you guys robbed a gas station, and really, we all want to. I hear people say, I want to flee from Baltimore. I want to move and get out of this town. It's not just here. It's everywhere. Yeah. And one thing I had put on my post like a couple of days ago is that I want everybody to, and I'm praying that everybody can be mentally healed to be able to get through everything that's going through, not us as witnesses of what's going on, but also the victims, the victim families, and the victim friends and everything. It's just not here. It's everywhere. Everyone is battling through this. Everyone is battling through the stressors, and not only that, it's people are going unheard. They're crying out for help. Right. They're crying out for help. Right. They're looking for help, and we shun people away because they don't look the way they should look to us. But you have the most intelligent people out here that can go from point A to point B or point Z mentally just snapping. So don't take it lightly that these people out here are crazy. You have the ones who don't even look like they're going through anything that are going through it.
There
you
go.
Are so right. You are so right.
Everyone, I just want to thank you. And we are running out of time, so I wish you all a pleasant evening, sweet dreams. And Chris, as always, I look forward to joining you again on Monday.
Absolutely. Yeah. You all have a good week. Be safe and be blessed.
You too.
All right. Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Thank you all.
Good night.
Good night.
FiOS is not cable. We're wired differently, which means you can get the fastest internet available with equal upload and download speeds from 50 to 500 megs. So you can upload 200 photos before your favorite song is finished. Click the ad and switch to FiOS today to get our best offer ever.
Get hooked on Tuesday at Bonefish Grill with our 3-course menu. Begin with a crisp salad, your choice of a savory entree like our Atlantic salmon, and a decadent dessert for $14.9. Enjoy our 3-course Hooked on Tuesday menu for only $14.9, available every Tuesday. And be sure to try our Dayboat scallops, caught daily off the coast of New England and delivered fresh to Bonefish Grill. They're grilled to perfection and served over a bed of creamy risotto. So come into Bonefish Grill today before they're gone.